A very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome to the first session of this particular training. So in yesterday's demo session, okay, we have an understanding of how the DevOps is actually evolved and what is our roles and responsibilities and what are the tools that we're going to learn, right? So let's try to brief those particular same things once again, by the way. So our roles and responsibilities we discussed is one is IAC, or let's keep like DevSecOps. Our role as a DevSecOps, what are the things that which is involved, by the way, right? So the first one is we are going to create infrastructure. Why do you create the infrastructure, by the way? So to run web application, correct? So that's what I have shown yesterday. Most of the applications are web-based applications. Now this Miro.com is an application also I'm using, is a web-based application. I'm not really installing any software in my local system to do this one. So just the web page, it is available. Okay, most of the web applications are going in this manner. So that is what it is. Second. The next is the roles and responsibilities. We talked about CI/CD, right? So CI/CD is about so deploy the application. So deploy, or let's forget about too much technical word. Okay, so keep application on the server without downtime or smooth manner. So this is another one we talked about. CI/CD. Okay, something. This is also another point which I have mentioned yesterday. And the third point I mentioned is automation. So wherever so the repetitive task needs to be automated. So that's automation. Okay. So if we can that's foundation, by the way, it's a foundation pillar, to really specify that. That's a way of working in today's world. Not only our role, by the way, most of the people work on the automation. So that's where just ignore that. The third one is application we are serving is secure. Okay. So is secure. That's is the third point, by the way, that we need to understand. Our role is actually telling three main things to look at towards. You look towards create a infrastructure. So you create a server, whatever is the necessary things to run your application. Assume server only. Okay. Now keep your application on the server. It is again we're talking on the server. You protect the server. So everything is talking about the major role. Everything, all the points are actually talking about one thing, which is called as server, right? So all these particular 3 points. So the point number 1, the point number 2, and point number 3 is talking about one thing only, majorly. They're talking about a server. Isn't it? Okay, they're all talking about the same thing. That's how it is. They're talking about server. Now we need to understand about this particular server to start with. So yesterday, until here, we have talked about Now, even if you look at the syllabus perspective, by the way, so here we are. Yesterday, I already given this syllabus URL. I'll ping it once again. So this is what we see yesterday. So now here, if you look at the roadmap, so the roadmap is in the very starting, we're actually dealing with the Linux, by the way. So here, our roles and responsibilities we're talking about is the server, and the server has one operating system. So server will have an operating system, and that operating system is basically a Linux. So operating system. Okay, and that one we're talking is Linux here. So all our points are actually talking about, so you deal with a server, you create servers, okay, you maintain application on the server, you actually, so secure your application, everything point on a server. So, and the server operating system is Linux, and that's where we wanted to start learning about the Linux. Okay, so then we may get a question that, is it really the Linux is the one, the outside world, it is really used, by the way. So let's get some stats from the usage of operating system Wikipedia. So the Wikipedia has one page, by the way, usage of different operating systems. Okay, they talk about the devices, by the way. So Android is leading. Okay, and after that they talk about Windows. Okay, so they talk about the web clients. Majority of the web clients again runs on Android. Okay, and after that the desktop and laptops, they tell that Windows is leading in that area. And the same way, they'll come to the big machines. They talk about, so big machines, like that's okay, that it's supercomputers are plus to the servers. But if you look at the, numbers here, so they talk about all, earlier the world is all about Unix operating system, and they shifted to Linux, by the way. So it's all Linux. Okay, so when we talk about the server, so the majority of the operating systems are, okay, Linux, by the way, and not much Windows. All right. So that's how it is Linux. We're going to learn about Linux. So that's the idea. Right? Does it make sense? Any questions before starting? Is everyone aligned? And the same process, by the way, if you have a question, you need to raise the hand in your Zoom. You'll find it out, a option to raise the hand. Please do raise the hand. I'll come to you one by one. Yes, Anvesh, go ahead.
Nothing, nothing. Can proceed.
Okay. Okay. You're on mute, Raju. You need to unmute and talk.
Hi Raghu, good morning. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Raghu, just I have one question. I am from testing background, so wanted to understand the future for this course. Like, will this help me to in my real work life? Because I'm working as a QA and little bit exposure about the cloud environment also. So need your suggestions regarding that, Raghu.
The QA role in the software development will not go anywhere. In the engineer role also will not go anywhere. The development role also will not go anywhere. So this will run, by the way. Like I really did not got you what your question exactly.
Yeah, wanted to understand the future goal of this course. Definitely, this is from DevSecOps role. So, and I will be getting opportunity in current project only to work in this area. Means recent project only. So, would like to know about this. Means whole syllabus is like huge. I see there is a list of lot of topic involved in this. So I'm so so wanted to know about, will this helpful for me as a QA process or more about development role, like if this course is belongs to, or overall anyone can join this course.
Uh, Forget about anyone. Is that you're telling you're a QA guy, you in your current project, you have an opportunity also to work on this. So that's where you're learning. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
So then fine, right? So what is your worry is what is the future of this role?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Like I already mentioned, so in SDLC, the developer will be there, he will not go anywhere. The QA will be there, he'll not go anywhere, and the next engineer is also is there. So it's all tightly coupled in Agile, right? So all three people are will be there and it still will be there.
Okay, okay. Thanks. Yeah, that's
Okay, all right. I don't see any more hands. Moving on. So the next is we are going to have operating system about Linux, right? So let's understand the Linux operating system. Now, when you go with the Linux as an operating system, okay, so Linux is mostly inspired and created in a Unix way, but there is certain history to that. So what is the history is there was some Unix boxes which was there were some Unix boxes which was already running. So the Unix was the world which is ruling the market, and the Unix is actually the problem with the Unix is you have software and hardware coming from the same person, by the way. So that means the performance is too good. The software and the hardware comes from the same vendor. So that's where it becomes super stable box. And so monopoly comes into picture and the cost they involve, I mean, more like your Apple devices, right? Apple is all Unix machines. The software they will build, hardware they'll build, and ultimately you'll get the performance. Okay. Now we're talking about 1980 story. So where the time of Unix is leading the market, but end user doesn't have the abilities to use Unix because it's too costly. So that end user includes like universities, colleges also. Okay, so it's hard to get a so buy a Unix box. So to that level, the cost is. And now in order to or basically like so there is a person who thought like so software should not be like this, and software should be freely available. It cannot be in the closed loop. Then he started a community, okay, which is called as a GNU community. There's a community born, the first community of its kind, or first community, by the way, in the software industry is GNU. Okay. Today you can call Python community, today you can call Java community, like that. So the first community of the software industry is the GNU community, which is started by Richard Stallman. Okay. So who's the guy? Anyhow. Richard Stallman. So he is the guy. Yeah. So he's the guy who has actually, so thought like it should not be that way. So here, Richard Stallman. Now their idea is to build a Unix-like operating system. He started a community, and a lot of people joined his community, and they're working towards to that cause. And while he is still working on that particular cause, so there is a so there's a code baked. I mean, so same. What is the problem with the Unix here is the software and hardware is the problem, and someone want to break this layer. Okay, so that any software can run on any hardware. They wanted to break this layer so that any hardware you can have and any software you can have, any software can run on any hardware. So these guys are actually trying to break this particular layer and they couldn't actually, but there is another guy who is called as, Linus Torvalds. So who broken that particular one and he made a code that worked with, that works or that breaking this particular layer, by the way. He broke that. Okay, he made a code and he broke that. And he also joined the community, the GNU community, and the Linux has been like the operating system has been named, and that named operating system is called as GNU Linux. Okay, that operating system, which these two team, these guys came up with, is called as GNU Linux. And whatever the Linux we learn here is GNU Linux here. We're going to learn GNU Linux. And now your question can be, is there any other Linuxes other than GNU Linux? Yes, there are Linuxes, but not so famous and widely used. But there are other Linux as well. Okay. Now, different Linux operating systems. So you have a Wikipedia page again here. List of the Linux distribution. So you can see this. Okay. It's a big line, by the way. So you can see this here, a very big line. So each and every line determines an operating system. So there is a Slackware Linux, which is a GNU Linux. And there is a Debian, is one Linux. And there is a Red Hat Linux, so in its flavors. And a lot of different Linuxes independently, they are there. Okay. So now, in these particular Linuxes, you have to pick up one operating system and run it. Okay. Now that's where the next one which comes here is there is multiple operating systems. So Linux is not an operating system again. OS. If you talk about a word called as Linux, it's not an operating system. So what this GNU Linux is actually going to give you is they offer something called as kernel. There's a core of an operating system, which is actually going to drive the software or drive the hardware by any software, right? So here is a layer we're talking about. This is Linux. Linux is not just Linux as a word, it is not an operating system, but anyhow, its end product has to be an operating system so that it can work. Now this kernel will be taken by some vendors and will be made an operating system. So Red Hat as a company, they take this. Red Hat as a company, they will take it. Now Debian as a company, as a community also, they take this. Okay. Now Red Hat comes into picture, Debian comes into picture according to this diagram also. So Debian, Debian has been there and a lot of families are there under Debian. Now Ubuntu is one of the operating systems you are aware, it comes from Debian, one of the famous guy. And if you've heard about, let's say Red Hat or something, Red Hat OS, it comes from you can see this Red Hat Enterprise Linux, it comes from Red Hat. Okay, now anyhow, it's IBM by the way, but yeah, so it is Red Hat. Now this operating system, these two vendors are there. Now these two vendors, what they're going to do is they're going to take this one. Okay, so they are going to offer certain software. Okay, put like this. They're going to give some software plus kernel. and this becomes a Linux operating system. This becomes an operating system. Until then, it was not really an operating system for anything to run. So they built some software on top of this kernel, whatever they offer. And this becomes a Red Hat OS. Okay. So this becomes a OS called as RHEL, and this becomes one of the operating system, which is Ubuntu. There are many guys again. So we're just picking one flavor, which is kind of widely used one. Now you had to learn one of these, by the way, as a Linux operating system. You need to learn one of it. And now again, other, on the lines, by the way, so which, so these two guys are famous is what I'm telling. You can search in internet also, you'll get the same thing. So out of again, the Red Hat and Ubuntu, so which Linux OS is, okay, so widely used in corporate world and enterprise world? Okay, so the answer you get it is in the corporate and enterprise world, you get is RHEL, and there is a SUSE one. So SUSE was backed by SAP. So that's how little SUSE also you made C. Okay, SAP world. SAP world especially uses SUSE. Okay, so that's where these two are coming in more as a answer, and there will be other also, like other notable is Ubuntu is a divine. Okay, so these are the ones. So, but mostly you end up with seeing the operating system, which is in the big companies, which is all about RHEL. Okay, now RHEL has a lot of free versions, like, so free, again, RHEL, a lot of people copy the RHEL machines, RHEL software. These are all open source, by the way. And people copy the code and build their own operating system. So that's fine. Okay, but anyhow, RHEL is a proprietary owner for that, and who supports the operating system, by the way. Okay, that's how RHEL is the one that we are going to learn over here. So in our training, we're going to learn RHEL. And when you go with the RHEL operating systems, and if I go for end of life operating systems, end of life, things like that. So now you will get, RHEL 7. So it's already ended, right? You can see this June 30, 2024, it's already ended. RHEL 6, anyhow, it is already ended. Now RHEL 8 and 9 is there. 8 and 9 is 8 is still going on till 2029, and RHEL 9 is 2035. Okay, so that means at least if you go by number 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 9 is something which is currently going on, right? So that's where we're going to learn some operating system, so which is RHEL 9 version. So in our training, we are going to learn RHEL 9. Okay, so this is the starting point for us, or why you are learning Linux and which version of Linux we are learning. And Red Hat means 8, 7, 7, 8, 9. You can manage any of the operating system, and even you can manage any of the copy of the operating system also. Like let's say RHEL, CentOS as a community, they copy Red Hat. You can still use Red Hat. You can still manage CentOS because you're already learned Red Hat. Okay, like that it will be there. But for Ubuntu, there may be slight differences from the vendor perspective, but RHEL copies all the Red Hat copies. You still maintain with the same approach. This is exactly clone of the same operating systems. So there is no worry. So RHEL 9 is our choice. We wanted to go with that. Does it sound clear? Any questions? Same process. You need to raise your hand so that I'll come to know that you have a question. I'll come to you. Okay. Hoping no questions. All right. So the next one is we wanted to go with RHEL 9, and ultimately So we are going to launch this particular RHL 9 in Azure cloud. So now I want these machines. So Azure cloud I'll go for and create a machine there and I use it. So this is our ultimate goal. Okay, but in this journey, so we have, I mean, going to the Azure cloud will do that. So maybe on day 3 we do that. So because every one of you need to sign up for Azure cloud and all. So I will share that particular information today. You can go through that. Okay. So now until then, by the way, so we have a certain thing which is there. We'll cross through, okay, rather than directly going into the Azure and creating a VM. So for a couple of days, we'll take a help of some other tool. And from there, we'll go to the Azure cloud. Okay. So we'll go through certain place. All we need to have is the Linux we need Linux for practice, by the way. Okay. So here we are having something called as Killer Coda. So Killer Coda, there is a platform called as Killer Coda, and that Killer Coda will offer Linux. And so we'll start learning Linux. In the meantime, we'll get your Azure cloud and things ready. Okay. And then we'll start with the so we'll start with the Azure cloud in day 3, by the way. So, but we'll start with Killer Coda. Okay. Now, if I go to the Killer Coda, okay, so here is a Killer Coda. There are different playgrounds which are available for learning, by the way. I have created my own here. So I'll be just giving that. So here, this is the one. Now, all these particular URLs is available in a place. So this one link you try to bookmark, I'll give it to you, everyone. Anyhow, we'll drop emails also after that, after the sessions. So this email is, sorry, this link is actually having all the information. So here you have a Killer Coda link. So you open this particular Killer Coda, directly it will take you to my courses where whatever we have. The next is the Miro. Okay, the one I have written a diagrams, right? You can see the diagram also here. I have given, let's say I will open in incognito mode. You don't even require login. It's just a simple mind map. So you will be able to see this. So for your class, I mean, after class reference also, you have it available. And so the next one is every one of you need to sign up your AWS account. So this is how you do a AWS sign up. And after that, there is some cloud prerequisites. You don't need to do this right now. So just sign up for a Azure account after the session. That should be fine. So we'll deal with that, how to use it and all. I'll explain. So no worries. Okay. So this, on the 3rd day, we'll look into it. But until then, just do a Azure sign up. And during Azure sign up, so sometimes there is sometimes there is an observation that few people will not get OTP, by the way. Okay, while signing up for Azure account. So few people, I mean, when you do a sign up, they'll ask the mobile number. They won't give this, they'll not send you the OTP. It will again redirect to the same page. So there's an open bug in the Azure about it. Now, if you are facing such problem, so please open a Google Chrome inside your mobile app and do sign up in mobile app, it will work. Okay, if you face that issue, it won't again come for everyone. All right. So that is how, okay, you can do it. Or if any challenges, just let me know. I can, so, I mean, we can help you. That's okay. So sign up is a very simple process anyhow. Cool. So now Killer Coda information is here. So we'll be going with the Killer Coda. Now there are 2 courses which are available here. So one is Linux Basics and Linux Administration. So to start with, we are going to go for and learn the Linux basics here. So you click on that, and then it will ask you for a login to get the environment. You will get a 1 hour environment, and after that you again re-log in, you get 1 more hour. So that's where I click on this. I'm signing up with my Google thing. So it is coming. Okay. So cool. That's fine. So let it do its job. So you're going to get some Linux. We're going to learn some Linux here. And when we start about Linux, Linux is all about command line operating system. So Windows is all about the UI, right? You do click, click, clicks. Okay. Every time you do a click, by the way. So that's the way you are working on the desktop operating systems. But you're not dealing with the desktop operating systems. You're dealing with a server, by the way, right? Now the server, the server is a very crucial one for running your application. Like we already talking about that. Right? So the server is a very crucial one for your running application. And out of this one one topic we're talking about is keeping the server secure. Okay. And that means, so you need to ensure the security aspect of the server. So one of the aspect you can maintain the security aspect of the server is by not keeping more and more software. You keep it. There's a principle in the server side. Okay. We talk about in the production world is lesser the software, lesser the risk. Okay. Lesser the software, lesser the risk. So that means in server, you don't dump everything, by the way, it can invoke or it can do some risk. So you keep a very thin operating system, which is essentially needed, and you maintain those particular software only. Okay. So you unnecessarily keep a lot of softwares. You end up with having, so some sort of hacks hackers can get into the systems at all using these bugs only, security bugs only. So that's where you always need to ensure, okay, in the software, you always run in a thin, in a thin layer only. Okay. Server operating systems will always run on thin layer. Now, to get this graphical and all, you require to install a lot of software and require a lot of resources. It becomes a bulky, and any of this software can compromise the server. So we don't end up going, even though the servers has a graphical UIs as a software available, we will never go with those particular ones. Okay, so that is how we are going to deal with servers. So we are always going to go with a lean software, a very minimal software. And that's where we access the server operating system just over command line only. And command line is so powerful in such a way that it can do the fantastic job than your UI. Okay, you may be comfortably thinking that, so the UI is a very happy path. Now I'll give you a task to you. Let's say Windows, how happiness can be diluted, right? Or how happiness can become miserable. If I can talk an example that, let's say, if I give you 100 files, 100 text files are there, just as an example, 100 text files. Now you need to open each and every file and you need to search a word and replace that word. 100 files you have. Then do you think the UI actually does a great job? That means you have to go to each and every file, double click, Control F, maybe search, and maybe whatever it is, some replace option can be there. So search and replace. Okay. So you had to do it 100 times on those files. Okay. Now the 100 become 1,000, let's say. I'm just taking a hypothetical scenario. That's okay. But it can be a reality as well. Now the 100 become 1,000. Then do you think your UI, whoever is the fans of UI cannot actually, so support this point, by the way, right? So your comfort zone, becomes complicated, by the way. You can't do the work properly. Okay. So that's where the command line comes as a very powerful one. Even Windows has the command line, by the way. So you have MS-DOS and PowerShell also now. So they can do this job. So that means even though you use Windows, you wanted to perform such activities, you end up going to a command line. Okay. So Linux starts with a command line only. Okay, it has a very powerful utilities. Now I have 100 files or 1000 files, does not matter. So I can still deal with the same 1 minute. Actually, I can deal with that job. Okay, in a minute we can do the job in Linux. So that is how the command line is so powerful. Okay, where the I mean, wherever the UI can't actually do the job, so command line can do the job. Okay, so that's where we always go with the command line things on the Linux operating system. So when we learn, by the way, you are going to deal that with some commands. Any operation you perform in Linux is through command, and we're going to learn some commands. All right, so that's how we are going to come to Linux command line. Now we're going to learn about command line. Does it sound clear before going? Any questions on this?
Raghu, just one question. So, not with respect to this, like just a project related.
Can you go with the
Any hour? Uh,
1 minute? Can you stick to the topic? Any extra questions maybe at the end we'll discuss.
okay, sure, sure.
So hoping no questions. Okay, so it's all about commands and learning the commands now in the Linux, by the way. But before going to the commands also, let's understand the command line prompt, the prompt of your system. So we'll help you in understanding certain thing, by the way. What is that it is helping you is, so here you have a, the left side in the square brackets, it is going to tell you the username you logged in. Okay. In Windows, if you want to know which user you logged in, maybe you press start button and somewhere it should show. Okay, I'm hoping. I think in the start button somewhere it will show you which user you logged in, right? Now with the command line here, it is going to tell you, so here you logged in as a root user. Okay, root is an administrator in Linux. Administrator is administrator in Windows. Who is the admin user in Windows? Administrator. The same way Linux also has one administrator, so which is a root user. We directly logged in as a root user. And at the rate, you have a system name. So this is the name of the system which we have it. So this is the name of the server. So we call it as host name. Every server has a name that is called as host name. Okay, it is showing the host name. Now here on the prompt, you're going to type some commands, by the way. So now that's where the commands you're going to learn. I'm giving you name. It is telling me this is some Linux. Now forget about what is uname. And uname -a, if I'm giving, it's also telling that this is a GNU Linux. Okay. So this is what we are getting. Now, if you look at the commands, by the way, in the terminal, in the terminal, the first thing which we are give is basically is a command. Okay. So the first one, whatever we give here is a command, by the way. Now here, uname is a command. Doesn't matter. You have a hell lot of commands out there. So one command I executed, which is a uname, and it is giving me the response. By reading the output, I understand what I'm looking for. Okay. So that's where I type a command. Now, let's say if you want to create a file, you want to view a file, by the way, or you want to see a list of files, you double click, a folder will be open and you will see a list of files in Windows, right? Now, by seeing that list of files, you will understand. So here you'll execute a command. That's it. Here you are executing a command. The next is, this command will have certain options, by the way. So may or may not have options. Certain commands are going to have some options. And those options can be either a single hyphen single character, or hyphen hyphen single word, or hyphen single word. In these three manners only, you'll find out the commands. For an example, uname has, you have seen hyphen a, and uname hyphen hyphen, uname hyphen hyphen, so something like all also I can give. So you can give, you're getting the same response, but I'm giving hyphen a or hyphen hyphen all. Either of the way you can get it. Right? And the same way, so I think you have Java. If I give hyphen hyphen version, is giving me the option. And also Java hyphen version also, sorry, hyphen version also, I'm getting the same thing, right? So hyphen single word, okay, but whereas hyphen v, I think it will not give. It's telling unrecognized option. Okay, it is working on hyphen single word or hyphen hyphen single word, but whereas uname is working with a hyphen single character and hyphen hyphen single word. Now uname hyphen all, it will tell that there is an invalid option. Now it all depends upon the command. The first one, whatever you use, it tells you which are the options that you can use, by the way. Now, every command and its options, you don't need to remember. There is a good documentations which will be available. I would always suggest you to start from, Google only. From command line also, you can get the help, but I would suggest you to start. I mean, reading is much efficient in the browser than the command line. So that's where I would always suggest you to start from here. For, let's say I'm leading with uname command. Okay, so you can give like manual. You just give this, what are the command you're looking for, and command manual on the internet, it will bring you the command manual. So you open the page. Now it tells that, it supports hyphen a option and hyphen hyphen all, which does the same operation, but it doesn't have hyphen single word, by the way. It has hyphen hyphen single word or hyphen single character only they are supporting. Okay. If I'm looking for Java, let's say, so you have, this is from a third party vendor. So that's where it is actually taking you to the third party command. Okay, because it is not belong to Linux natively. Okay, so it is going to a third party command. There they are explaining all the options. So you can see here they're giving hyphen agent libs, hyphen single word, or hyphen hyphen single word they are giving. Okay, so it's all about them. So you can also use hyphen class path as well. Okay, hyphen single word is also there. So all the options they will explain as a vendor, they will explain. Okay. So all you need to do is you learn some commands and you will execute them. Okay. And while executing them, you may find some options for some purpose. Okay. So those are the options also, additional options you are going to learn. Now, the next thing is, so the commands can have some inputs also. For an example, ls command I'm giving, you're getting some output. Now, ls of slash opt, I don't have anything, slash emp. Yeah, I'm getting something. So now you can see this. ls, I'm getting something. ls of slash tmp, I'm getting something. Now, ls command is actually trying to do some job. But the moment you give some inputs, okay, I'm giving an input, by the way. This is not an option. I'm giving an input. Now it is doing something else, by the way. Okay, your input, based on the input, it is doing something. And based on your options, it will do something more. Okay, so like this, your commands are actually going to may work with some inputs and may have some options as well. Okay, so that means in the holistic way, if you look in, the command you're going to learn may or may not have some options. So that means for some commands, you may end up with learning some options, because for every command, the options are not needed. So you may learn commands, and some commands may have some options. We'll learn those particular things. And some commands may require some inputs. You end up, okay, so you end up learning those particular things as well. Or basically, like, you end up knowing, like, you need to provide, for an example, I want to create a file. You have to create a file name. I want to add a user to the system. I have to provide the username. Like that, inputs will be there for the commands to do its job. Okay, so that's how the inputs also comes into picture. Now, this is a very holistic way. Okay, whatever the commands it is does not matter. Whatever the commands I have executed so far doesn't matter, because we start with again with the basic commands. So you need to understand a command may or may not have options, may or may not have inputs. It all depends upon the command and your requirement, by the way. Okay. So that's how we are going to have some commands, and we'll learn about commands, by the way. All right. So that's the introduction to the basics of Linux commands. And any questions, please go ahead.
Are you going to provide any material for this? Not for this, for going forward also. For
Already a material.
yeah.
The killer code is already a material. The left hand side is a documentation, information, material. On the right side, you have is the practice you're doing.
But these are only 2 to 3 commands only. Right?
So you have a next button. You're not done.
Oh. How long this will be available?
Sorry?
I mean, how long this will be available? So
How long it is available? It is there all the no problem.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All our content is open. Okay. Only the recording and the session is only a closed loop. Rest everything of us is completely open only. Okay. So because nothing I'm closing, because Linux is free and all the tools, it's their documentation. So there is nothing a closed thing we have in our training. Only the session and the recording is the only closed thing. Rest everything is open. This killer code is open to anyone, not only to our people. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Raghu. Raghu, regarding this killer coda, like suppose if I am new to Linux and I wanted to know from the beginning Linux. So like if I follow this particular killer coda, whatever it's there in the left hand side, like it's like a kind of a practical tool that you can use, you can check and you can try like that. So is it okay for the this particular domain, or I need to do some other courses as well? Because Linux is the like base of this particular things.
Yeah. So this much is fine, by the way. So you don't need to really go with others.
Okay.
But always keep in mind, there's always something more to learn.
Exactly.
Right. And also at the same time, so you need to think about ROI, okay, return on investment. Now, what you're investing on is a time, by the way. Now, how much you invest your time on Linux and what is the return you get it, by the way. So you'll not have much return on Linux when you invest, okay? But whereas you invest in any of the other tools, by the way, which can bring you better outcome in a way like, I learned, for an example, there's a GitHub Actions. Maybe I learned some other tool called as GitLab. That gives you a better return than learning few more commands on the Linux, because you're in a world where, you will not get a comfortably the way you're executing the commands. You will not execute the same commands on the production servers. So the production servers are zero login systems. No one will log in and execute the command. So you are in a much different world, by the way. So that's where you don't need to really spend a lot of time around the Linux, but essentially the Linux is needed. So we're trying to bridge that gap. Okay. So to avoid that gap, so we learn what is needed, and you don't need to end up learning all the Linux. When you end up learning all the Linux, the next 10 years also, you will not end up with Linux. It's that vast, by the way, you don't need it, right? So it's an operating system like Windows, right? A very simple example. Windows, how much percentage of Windows you know?
Correct.
You know each and every file which is there in the operating system. You know each and every option. No, right? But you're doing your job, isn't it?
Correct.
So Linux is also just another operating system. As long as you know what you need, what you're doing, it's fine. You don't need to know everything out there in the operating system. Just
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi Raghu. I'm audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. I actually one question, like what is the difference between DevOps and DevSecOps?
So DevOps, yesterday video, I think I suggest you to take a look. We talked about it. But yeah, so adding the security also to your role. So dealing with the
Okay.
security. So or let's keep this way. So we already have today also. The first 2 points is a DevOps job. Adding a third point also, you're taking care of the
Okay.
security of the application is also a DevSecOps.
Okay. Means in DevOps only after adding the security it becomes a DevSecOps, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to manage the security part of the application as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So the next is all about is just start with some understanding of an operating system. I'll not take you too much for today, by the way. Just start with the very basics. And in your Windows, you have certain operating system structure, right? So if you go to the Windows, you're going to have this one. So I hope you are aware of this. Like it starts with C drive and, so a bunch of folders out there, right? So like that. So Linux has, its own structure. So it starts with // Windows starts with C drive : / and Linux starts with the // So when Windows operating system was been there, when Windows operating system has been trying to get created, Unix was already there, and Linux is completely inspired from Unix only. And Windows guy, actually there's a // okay, let's keep a // that's how the // came in. Unix is already using // okay, let me keep // the Windows became like that. Okay, so that's where so Linux and Unix, by the way, you are going to see // and Linux and Unix commands also, some of the commands also it is same only, because I'm telling you again, it's not a copy of Unix operating system. Copy is a different word, but is inspired from Unix, and it is rewritten everything. They have rewritten everything. Okay, so that's where you may see certain things also quite common, but don't so think like Unix and Linux are same. Both are different. Linux is a different operating system all the way. And Windows also, it's a different one. So here you have C drive. Under C drive, you have Windows, and in Windows, you have a bunch of files. Okay, a lot of them we don't aware. The same like Linux also, we have // you have many of the things. We don't need to be aware of everything. Okay, so that's where so certain folder structure has been explained here. Now here, the structure, if you try to understand, like if you go with a tree, by the way, so you're going to get a starting point of the tree, which is called as root. The starting point of a tree is called as a root. From root, the tree becomes like, so from all these, so stems and branches will come into picture, right? So the same way, okay, so the tree has root, and here in Linux and Unix world also, we call it as a root directory. We have a root directory. We'll deal with directory called as root. Okay, in Windows, we call it as / to give the path of the file and folder. But in Linux and Unix, we give // In Linux, we have a root directory where the path of any directory start here. A simple / is called as a root directory. Previously, we called a root user, ROOT, root user. User is different. Okay, directory is different. So you'll get used to that. Don't worry too much on that. You'll get used to it. So that is the one. And in Linux, it is preferred not to give any spaces in the folder names, file names you create. So spaces you need to get rid of in Linux world. So that is one thing that you need to understand. Maybe if you still want to, I know the spaces can give you a certain advantage. Now let's say my name is there, first name space, last name. Now in Linux, you may deal with, if I really need to deal that way, so maybe I'll go with hyphen or underscore in between to do a delimiting between them. Okay, you have to deal that way better. You can it can still support the names, but it's not recommended. That's the only thing. And in Linux, by the way, so the directory names are case sensitive. Okay, this is also another thing. If you look at the directories in Windows, you try to create one folder called as, let's say, sample with all small characters. You try to create another folder name with all caps, by the way, it won't allow you. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this thing. So you can't create a same name with other letters, by the way. Let's say it's all small letters, all capital letters, it won't allow. But Linux does support that. It's a case sensitive operating system. So you can have all the combinations, by the way. If one character is another character also, it will still support the things. So that's how Unix is designed. So this is a basic introduction. So there is a root directory which is called as slash. Okay, the slash is called as a root directory. Now let's to start with the listing the files, by the way. So if in Windows, you open any folder, automatically you see the files. But in Linux, you will not be able to. You have to exclusively ask for to see the files. The first command we're going to talk about to see the files is ls command. Okay. So ls command in wherever you are in does not matter. It is going to give you the list of files, whatever you have. So it is giving you, these are all the files which you have. Okay. So there are 4 files it is telling. But whereas I'm giving, hey, I give me the hidden files also. In Windows also, you have a hidden files. Hidden files and folders concept also is there in Windows. So there is somewhere you have to go and enable that option. Okay, so here, so hidden files, Windows. So you can go to here, somewhere in the properties, it will show you. So show hidden files so that you can see the hidden files, by the way, right? Now that's where ls-A, if I give it. So now I'm seeing so many files now. Previously, I'm seeing only 4 files. Now I'm seeing more files. Okay, -A. All right. Now, yeah, so it is showing you that. So now all the hidden files are, you can see this, these are all the hidden files. Now, if you understand the pattern, all the hidden files in Linux are folders in Linux. So start with a dot character. If you create any file with a dot character, it automatically will be converted as a hidden file. But whereas in Windows, maybe right click properties, click on hidden, some tick you have to do, and it makes the file as hidden, right? Here it is based on the file name, by the way. So the name of the file is starting with a dot, then it is a hidden file. So ls-A is going to get you the list of hidden files as well, along with the normal files. And now ls-A or ls-small l, if I give an option, it will show me a little bit more information about it. Okay. So, and also hidden files as well. So it's showing more information. Now, what is this information? You will understand a bit later. But here it is trying to show you the size of the file. So it is showing how many bytes this file is having. Okay. So yeah. So this is what you're going to, or you're having the commands or you're having a ls command to see the list of files. While seeing the list of files, you're having a hidden files. And also you can get the little bit lengthy information about your file as well. So all these options, by end of Linux, you will understand each and every character, whatever you see here, you will understand that. Okay. So that's about ls command, by the way. Any questions? Okay. I don't see any hands. Moving on. I think this is the basic thing. So one last thing only I'll talk about in today, which is, so how can you navigate from one location to another location? So today is only about get the comfort, the Linux command line only. I know for the day one, it looks little struggle, but trust me, by the way, after a year or a couple of years, okay, you do a look back, by the way, I mean, definitely you'll be having a feeling, you will get a feeling that, so the UI operating system is the most difficult operating system you have worked on so far. Okay, the Windows you may think today is a good one. Okay, after a year around Linux or 2 years around the Linux, okay, if you try to just rethink about this point, you would definitely feel that you have learned the most difficult operating system where the Linux is the most simple one. Okay, most simple and powerful one. You'll get that feeling. Okay, but maybe to start with, it may be little, so like too much difficulty feeling. You may see it, but trust me, it is going to be a very simple one. You'll get used to that. And also, we're talking about the directories as well. Okay, so now, like I mentioned, so it all starts with / and somewhere the directories and all. Now, if you want to know that in which directory you are in, so you can execute a command called as pwd. The pwd command is going to help you in telling you in which directory you're in. So that means you're under / a folder called as root. So that means if I go back here, so we talked about the directory structure. So / is the starting point. And inside that, you're under a directory called as root. I think it's not split here. That's okay. But where you are in right now, so under a folder name called as root, under / which is a root directory, and inside that a folder name called as root, you are there. Now you can navigate from one location to another location by using a cd command. Cd, if you know the path, cd bin, and you give pwd, you are under / directory, and you are in bin path. So a folder name called as bin. Okay. Now, if you don't know the path, you can go to cd /, okay, do ls, and you found out, okay, bin is there. I wanted to go inside bin. You will type bin. I don't remember the full folder name. I know something. You go into the some directory, and by seeing there, you'll see another folder name, undo ls. Okay, again, get into that one. So this is all you can do. All right. Now, if you know the path, you can directly jump onto the path. So for an example, I'm going into a path, some other path like this. But anyhow, without PWD also, okay, so the customized prompt which I have given you here is also telling you which path you are in. I'm not really needed to execute PWD all the time. Okay, so prompt customization can be done. I customized my prompt in such a way that, okay, so here I have given my folder name. So this brings me an advantage to avoid the PWD command all the time. Now, for an example, I'll take another tab, so which you'll get an uncustomized something. Okay. So now over here, if I go in, so now if I go to here also you have cd / which directory I'm in, no clue. Here also you have var log. Okay, which directory you're in, no clue. All the time you had to execute pwd. And sometimes assuming you're in one directory, okay, assume you're already there, and you can do a mistake also. The mistakes are highly possible from the command line. So that is where, so the customized prompt is always a good thing that I always do to my systems. Most of the mature people will do this. Okay, so to customize the prompt, I customize the prompt in such a way that so prompt customizers are a lot available in the internet itself. So prompt customize Linux or Linux prompt. So you have a tools also available directly for that. So you can go with, even you see this Brash prompt generator. Okay, you can generate the prompt. So I just generated some prompt here. That's it. I just customized it. It supports. How to do it and all, if you're interested after gaining some Linux knowledge, okay, you can go and read about it also. That's fine. Now coming to the cd command, so you have a bit more options. So cd to enter into a directory. Now there are certain options, by the way. Now if I give simply wherever the location I'm in, doesn't matter. If I give cd enter, it will take me to my home directory. So my root user home directory is /root. It is taking me automatically to my root directory. Okay. It is taking to my root directory or home directory. Sorry, not root directory. It's taking to my home directory. Wherever I am in the system doesn't matter. Just give CD enter. It is taking you to your home directory. And home directory is denoted with this symbol. Okay, in Linux, you can't customize this anyhow, or you may do some customization, but I haven't looked into that. So this symbol denotes you are in home directory. Simple. Now CD, if you go to the same things, so var/log path. Now, if you want to go one more option, by the way, if you want to go to one directory before in Windows, I think you can just go to the, I think, command bar. You can click on something. Okay. So now here there's a command called as cd dot dot. So it will take you to the parent directory. If you want to go to the parent directory, it is cd dot dot and cd dot dot. You are in / by the way, and there is no more cd dot dot. It will not work. So that is the entry point. So you can go one directory before by using dot 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 denotes your parent directory. Okay. So this is also one useful option that we will be having around cd command. There may be 100 different options, by the way, of cd command or ls command. We are not going with everything. So we're going with the bare minimum thing that we need generally for to start our work, by the way. We are going with that. And if there is any option, by the way, you can always open internet, start reading about it. So don't assume that, we'll learn Linux and only we'll go to the next step. So that's a very big mistake that a lot of people will do, because that's a never ending story. Okay. So whatever is needed, I'll take that much and I'll move on. And whenever I need it, I'll read it. Okay. That is the context. We'll take it up and we'll go accordingly. So that's where this pwd cd ls command is a combo that we always use. Ls to see the list of files, cd to switch on directory. Pwd is to find out in which directory you are in, something like that. Okay. So that's about these three commands. And even that's all from my side for today as well. I don't want to take more commands to you for today, for day one. So these basics, and yeah, so we can continue in the tomorrow session. Any questions, please go ahead. Okay. Regarding to this or any other questions also, feel free to go. And once again, I'm sending the syllabus for your reference on the chart for everyone. And also this Bitbucket link also I'm sending. Sorry, not Bitbucket, GitHub link. GitHub link. So please bookmark with this GitHub link. This GitHub link is going to have certain information. So Killer Coda and Miro link is what you have. And after a couple of days, we will get onto some standardized place. That's okay. But until then, you can still refer. These are just open links. Okay. I want every one of you to sign up for your Azure account after the training. So get your accounts ready. Keep your account ready. That should be fine. Yeah, that's all from my side for today. Any questions, please go ahead.
Raghu, related to, I was asking for project related. So will we having into project where we will see the DevSecOps implementations?
Yeah, correct. Whatever we do, it is a project based.
Okay. And what is the duration of the course?
3.5 months.
Thanks. That's it.
Yeah. Any other questions? You need to unmute and talk, Yash.
Hey, hello, Raghu.
Yeah.
Hey, Raghu, just wanted to ask, so the fees by when can we give, and do we have installment option for fees?
Commercials keep out of the set. Only technical you can talk here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Another question, Raghu. So these videos, once we like join the course, so even if after 3.5 months we'll be able to access the videos to learn, let's say if we are not able to, you get that much time. So even after 3.5 months, we'll be able to access these videos, right?
Yeah, videos is a lifetime access, and also lab session is also there. That also you'll get it after the training. So
Oh,
3.5 months is only the training to complete, and your learning generally may not be able to complete in 3.5 months. It will extend. Okay. So we'll
okay.
support the extended time as well.
So in that extended time, that if we reach out for doubts, we'll get the doubt support by you or by anyone else, or in that also, or we'll have to do it all within 3.5 months only.
No, it's extended, not just in 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Raghu. Hello, team. I have a question. So, do we need to set up Azure until tomorrow, or sign up, or
Yeah, get it done.
get it done
Before
tomorrow? Okay.
Hey, Raghu. When is the course started?
today, this is the first session. Okay. Anyone? Any other questions?
Sorry, one another question.
Yeah.
Where can I find the old videos which you share, the recorded video? I mean,
It depends upon the link which you joined. So if you can just ping what is the link that you joined, I can help you with that.
or could you share please the link?
Yeah, what is the link that you use to join the session? So usually that has the information. And if not, just ping me that link on the chat. I can help you where to find.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, Raghu.
Yeah.
Just wanted to ask, so like you are using Mac and I'm using Windows, so for further lectures, if we struggle for the practicals or for any thing from Windows, like there won't be problem, right? Just wanted to ask that.
I'm not teaching desktop. I'm teaching cloud and DevOps, by the way. So desktop does not matter.
Uh,
Sorry, go ahead. You're saying something.
No, just like there are some differences between OS, right, while using. So
We are
that's
not, again, I'm telling, we're not dealing with a desktop, by the way. We're dealing with the cloud and DevOps. Okay.
okay.
So desktop operating system does not matter.
Okay.
The timings from 6 to 7 or will it be extended daily?
7:30 is our plan. So just today, just completed maybe a little bit early. But otherwise 7:30.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions?
No, Raghu.
Yeah. Hi, Raghu.
Yeah.
Actually, there are some Azure certifications, right? Like
Mhm.
AZ900, AZ104, and 400. So
Hmm.
after finishing this course, we will be able to give AZ400?
See, certification trainings actually goes more on a theoretical approach, by the way. Okay. So we do the things bit more practical. If you want to target the certification, yes, you can always do that. But however, some reading you have to do, by the way. because we do most of the practical part.
Okay.
Yeah, and you should be able to.
Like I came to know that to complete this AZ 400 course, we need to give some lab test also. Like we need to undergo that lab test. So
Yes.
will that be similar to what we are learning here?
So that's what again. So the lab, even though the test is more about theoretical perspective only. Okay. So though it is practical. Okay. So it more towards land towards theoretical. So you just need to go through one round of at least one round of learning how to, so at least you take a practical, sample practical papers. There are, what do you call mock tests available. At least you go through one exercise, then you'll get comfortable to do that. But more towards a project you'll do here. So there they don't teach any project and all, even though it is practical, right? So it just again touches your basic foundations only. Yeah, we go beyond to that and we go for a usage perspective. We more concerned about how to run the things or the requirements of project. You should be able to do that. It's not a big deal.
Raghu, just one more question. Like, usually, so since like I mentioned yesterday, I have night shift. So once the videos are done for morning, by when would you be like providing the videos so we can start practicing? And usually, in how much time you would be able to provide like on daily basis?
I overheard you. Can you please come again?
No, so I was saying like by when you would be providing the videos every day since like we'll be having night shift, so maybe we'll be able to join on time. Maybe we'll start watching at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. So that's why.
Yeah, got it. So you are going to get it in 2 hours of time, by the way. It will take 2 hours, is it?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So let's meet in tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll learn some more commands, and that's it. Like we'll learn some more commands in tomorrow in Linux. Day after tomorrow, we're going to start with Azure part as well.
Hi, Raghu. I was asking in the chat, right? So everything would be on web-based, or we need to install few application like Docker, the Kubernetes like that. We need to install those applications in the future.
No, nothing. See, we are going to follow the real-time standards. In real time, none of the company expect you to run these softwares in your local, right? So it's going to be everything on the server side, and it will be a server side. So you'll not bother about too much about whether it's a company laptop. So here you're already attending the Zoom. So there is one more software that you need to install, which is called as editor. And editor also, you just pick up the editor, which is offered by the your company only. So we're not doing anything more than that. We write code for writing the code, one editor. That's it. You don't require any other extra software to be installed in your laptop.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Hope no more questions. Any other questions? Otherwise, feel free to drop. I'm done, by the way, for today. And thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye. Good day. Good night. And if anyone have any questions, also a couple of minutes, I'll be there. I have a few more minutes.